I think we got Heather on the line here. Hey, Heather, you there?
Good morning, Clay.
Good morning. We got Heather Smith, Miss Heather Smith, outdoors here on the phone with us. Heather, how you doing?
I'm good. I just got back from dropping off the littles at school. Back in mom mode. You know,
I know.
so life is good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I should really have a producer, but I am juggling things like a magician, like one of those people in the circus on a one wheel bicycle, juggling bowling pins, trying to talk on the phone and produce some show and do it on the internet. It's fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
We have a saying for that. It's busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest.
Yes, that's it. That is I. That is I.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
look.
yeah. I tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, no. Look, I was gonna say, you're one of the most interesting people I know. I mean, you've got so much going on. Whether it's
Yeah,
the naked and afraid stuff, it's your outdoors, your fishing, and just all the other stuff you're involved in. And you're a single mom. How many kids you have, Heather?
I have three. One is older. I'm actually a grandmother too. So I have an older daughter from a first marriage, and then I have the two littles from my second marriage. But I have no longer have husbands. I just have kids.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
you're probably winning there. I'm just gonna be honest. We
that's right.
we get a little harder
I
to
learned
deal with
twice.
as we get older.
I know. And you know what's funny is, when I started Heather Smith Outdoors, I was concentrating so much on me. I decided, you know what, and that's my whole family had died. And they say don't make any decisions, especially when you lose someone close to you for at least a year, right? Because you won't make an impulse decision, out of grief.
Yeah,
So I decided I wasn't going to date anyone. And then I really focused on the gym. I noticed that you focus on the gym. You're looking great, by the way, when I saw you in Mississippi.
thank you.
And uh, then I really started to like who I am, and realizing that I didn't need another half to find happiness, right?
Hmm.
I think I was searching for, when you're younger, before you learn to really like who you are as a person and love who you are and what you do. You sometimes we have a tendency to search for happiness and hoping maybe we can find it. And I hear that a lot. I'm looking for happiness. Well, if you're not happy alone, then you're never going to be happy with someone else. And then finally, I got so happy and so set in my ways. Before I know it, like you said, I've got so many irons in the fire. Here we are, fast forward 6 years later, and I'm like, nah, it's going to take somebody pretty spectacular to make me change my schedule.
Yeah, I went through a breakup recently, and I just kind of told myself, like the day after that, I said, I'm gonna. Not that anybody was ever keeping me from doing anything I wanted to do. It wasn't like that, but I was like, man, I got to really get some better habits, and it's getting
Yeah,
back to the gym every day. It's kind of getting back to taking care of myself the way I want to, and not feeling like I got to be with somebody. I went straight from a marriage that didn't work to a 2-year relationship almost, and it was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a little break. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm going to have to go out and have a good time, do what I do. And we'll see where things fall. But that feeling like you got to pursue somebody or got to be with somebody, that's for the birds. That is for the birds.
and I'm proud of you, Clay, because once you make that decision, I've noticed before that relationships have a tendency you go from one mistake to another, and you don't have time to heal the process. And now that I've done that, I sit back and I would watch. Meanwhile, while I'm doing all of my other stuff, I would have all these people come to me, and I would watch them go from breakup to breakup to new person to new person to. I mean, I had one guy in particular I'll never forget. He would call me and literally, I think he'd break up with one girl by breakfast, and he was already at lunch with another one. And I'm like, how are you letting those feelings heal? Were those feelings even real? And it really gave me like basically, I felt like I was watching a drive-in movie, of people, and it really actually made me think, ugh, you know what I mean? It gave me the ick, to watch how some people operate, and I was like, I don't want to be one of those people. So I think that's probably a very, very healthy choice, and it's extremely empowering, and it's I got a lot more done. A lot of people nowadays, they make comments, must be nice, must be nice, must be nice when, I'm doing stuff, or when me and Ashley go and do stuff, or, me and the littles go, or whatever I'm doing. And I'm like, they only knew how many sacrifices I had to make to do that, and I remember, I get a lot of girls that want what I have, and some of them are jealous and they make comments, and I'm thinking, you give up completely. I mean, I had no social life whatsoever for probably almost 3 years, like not at all, period. Hanging out with friends, sorry, can't do it, really got to focus. and I was either in the gym, you know, or with the littles. Obviously, the only like other than concentrating on work, the only thing I did was spend time with my children, and do their events or something. And other than that, that's what it took to get me where I'm at right now.
No, yeah, look, I mean, like, right after my most recent thing, I did go out on a date with somebody and somebody that I knew, and I was like, "Man," we both she was kinda going through the same thing, and we were just both like, "Man, we're so much better being friends. Let's just neither one of us want this." It was
Yeah, I've
kinda
tried that too. I tried that with one of my really, really good friends. And like, it was funny because we had been friends since we were 17 years old. Or we still are friends. We're friends since we were 17. And we both made jokes that we would kill each other, like making jokes because we both know each other so well. Like when I say, I'm 47, we were friends since I was 17. That says a lot. And, and we were both making jokes about it, and then of course we're both like, after a couple of weeks. And then we were both like, look, our friendship means more than this. At least that's why I definitely piped up. I was like, well, your friendship means a lot to me. And I think that this is going to ruin our friendship. So, and I wanted to focus more. And that's the thing too, when you're, especially with you, like you've got your own show going right now. And I know, how it's like. I know I've met your beautiful daughter. Being a parent and trying to juggle work and to be successful, not just mediocre, not just eat meat, ends meet. You know what I mean? To be extremely successful, that takes dedication and discipline. And you don't have time for those date nights, and you don't have time for those little things. Now it comes later, but when you're really trying to push yourself to a level, because everybody else wants to be at that same level, so you're competing against that.
you are. All right, so this I could sit here and talk about this all day, but I don't wanna, un put our listeners to sleep talking about relationship stuff. But
Yeah.
but all that lays the groundwork for
Yeah, that's
your
what I was
book.
saying. It really lays the groundwork for the next what we're going to talk about. Yeah.
It does. So it lays the groundwork for the book. Let's get started, and we'll have to take a break here in about 5 minutes, but I wanna jump in to this just came out. It's called The Survivalist's Guide to Single Parents by Heather Smith. So in the midst of all this, you've written a damn book, a
I
best-selling book
did.
too on Amazon, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the number one new release on Amazon in its genre, and then it's different numbers. But I'm in the top 10 in multiple different genres. But I'm the number one for children and family for literature and guides. So it's the survivalist guide. So I wrote it from the perspective of someone I've been on Naked and Afraid 3 times, and got 82 days in the wild, and it is a true story because I came home from Excel. And I sat down and I thought about it when I came home from Excel, the 40 days when I survived in Colombia. And I had got my teeth kicked in. I mean, it was, I think, everyone on television and actually around the world, because now it's airing in Europe and Latin America, and I'm getting messages in different languages, which is always fun when it airs later. But that was obviously very brutal on my body and so demanding. And then my children started telling me their schedule for their sporting events and practice and the different, things that we had to done in projects and, all this other stuff. And I was like, oh my God, it's easier to survive in the jungle. Right. And so, you kind of look at it one day and you're like, that's it. I'm going back to fighting the mosquitoes. And so that inspired me. That inspired me to want to write the book. And I wrote the book. And it really is from the perspective. And I think that anybody that takes on the role as a single parent, or they're considering taking on the role as a single parent, and they want to know what their options are, just know that you're really up against the what I truly believe is the biggest challenge that any human will face in a lifetime. Is raising children is always difficult enough, but when you have a partner that taps out and you have to take it on your own, then you've got double the work. And so I use my humor. You know me, I'm like the queen of sarcasm, right? So
Touche.
I wrote it in like a witty, irreverent tone, and and just tried to show you guys still have a sense of humor through all of it, because that'll push you through, and that you can't give up, and it took real life experiences, and I kind of outlined everything, and how you can still take a break and still survive, and without wanting to pull your hair out some days. Because there are going to be days that, we all know that you didn't get any sleep. You're still having to do the school project. You started out doing it together, then you look over and they're gluing pom poms to their shoelaces, and you're the one putting the planets together, on the project. And so, or now, even worse, when they come home with Common Core, you're like, what is this? It's like
I didn't
foreign
learn
matter.
this.
So, yeah, and then I caught myself telling my daughter the other day, and I shouldn't even said it, and we were on our way. She's like, I had an algebra test. And I go, I just want you to know that at no point in your life after you graduate will you need to use algebra. I'm just saying. It's like, no. But, I said, but you will need to know how to balance a checkbook. So we're going to work on it, So those are little things. But
Yeah.
that's
I got into
the
it.
book.
I got into an argument talking about algebra. I got into an argument with a buddy of mine one time, and he was like, I was like, look, man, I dropped out in the 10th grade, and me and you were at the same place in life. He's like, yeah, but he said, but math and stuff, it teaches you how to be a critical thinker. So that really, I felt like he won that argument in that moment. So this is like 5 years later. I've sat here and I'm like, you know what? I'm a pretty damn good critical thinker, and I still can't do algebra. But
Well,
yeah, you don't need
I
it.
think anybody that reads a conspiracy site or tries to compare, different forms of theology could be considered a critical thinker. So I don't. I think it's all somebody's perspective. I don't like math, but I want somebody to know it correctly. If I give somebody a 20 at a stop and go, I want to get the change back correctly. It's I think they said to me, as a matter of fact, during the whole plague that happened, they had the Common Core question. And I said, I was trying to talk to my daughter, and she kept coming up with the wrong answer with the way that they wanted us to write it out. And I was communicating with the teacher, and, we were all quarantined at that time. And I said, well, it keeps coming up with the wrong answer. She said, it's not the answer that counts. It's the path to getting there. We just want to make sure she's doing it the right path. And I said, well, let me tell you something. If I go to Shell and I've got $75 in gas and I give somebody $100 bill, I don't care about the path. I want $25 back. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's like getting to the right neighborhood. Then it not matter in what house you go in.
Yeah, yeah. So I think sometimes, again, it's all about perspective. I want to know the bottom line, but I think that we need to take things lighthearted. And the book was, me taking experiences. I think at one point in there, and the foreword, I make a joke about how, I once spent a week in a jungle trying to light a fire, and it was a wet jungle. And I said, you're going to need that same exact energy whenever you're trying to get a toddler to eat green vegetables. You're going to have to bring that same energy, like never give up. It's going to take a minute, and you're eventually going to get to do it. So, I mean, that's really what parenting is, right? Because they always depend on you. You have these little eyeballs looking up at you, and you can't give up.
No, Heather, can you do another segment with me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're going to take a 4-minute break. We got Miss Heather Smith Outdoors, talking about her new book, The Survivalist Guide to Single Parenting. Is that the right title?
For single parents.
The Survivalist Guide for Single Parents. Yep, got it right here. I had to pull it up on my phone. All right, we'll be right back with Heather Smith. Y'all got any questions in the comments or the Guns and Gear text line? Let me know. 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text. If you're watching on the Facebook, YouTube, X stream, feel free to drop some comments there, and we'll ask Heather your questions when we come back. Right back in 4 minutes on WYAB, aka The Clay Edwards Show. All right, guys, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back here with Heather Smith. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. We got Miss Heather Smith, Heather Smith Outdoors, here on the phone with us. Heather,
Yes.
I'm going to get you to help me with an ad read real quick.
Okay.
One of my big sponsors is a men's testosterone clinic, Men's Health in Mississippi. And
Okay.
I just, from a woman's perspective, tell our single guys out there, heck, our married guys, just, I mean, I don't know what kind of guy you're attracted to, but based on the kind of stuff you're into, I'm assuming you like a kind of a masculine man, a strong, independent man, a guy who's not lacking testosterone. That's a pretty important thing for a guy out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I prefer men not to wear dresses. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, testosterone is important. It's not only testosterone is not only important for men; it's also important for women.
it truly is.
So once a woman hits 40, or even after 35, the testosterone levels start to decline, and it decreases your metabolism. You start getting lethargic. Same with men. Your testosterone levels. You're more tired. You're apt to getting that belly fat that you develop, and that big belly, and you start seeing muscle atrophy. So I think testosterone is important for both men and women.
Yeah.
And I think the supplements, as you get older, they'll keep you back because, we're living longer and longer lives than we did from before. And there are more and more chemicals that are put into our water and into processed foods. We're not eating like we used to with, or in the 1950s, 40s, whatever, when they were growing their own vegetables. And we're seeing now more genetically modified vegetables and fruits. This is one of the levelers, and it's not like you're taking a medication. You're not taking something synthetic. You're actually taking a hormone that's the same hormone that's in your body. And I highly recommend anyone getting testosterone treatment.
Hey, man, look, text my name, Clay, all caps, to 601-327-8550, 601-327-8550. The Clay Edwards Show is hooking you up with a complimentary testosterone screening today. And I'm telling you, it's the best thing you'll ever do. One of our listeners here watching on the Facebook streams, Terry, says, "Hey, Clay, I'm 70 and I recently had my testosterone levels checked and it is high 800s, and my wife hasn't thanked me yet." I said, "Well, she's being a bit ungrateful because if yours is in the 800s, you are breathing rarefied air at 70 years old, my friend. So
Jesus
congratulations to
Christ,
that."
that guy's like a dragon.
I mean, goodness gracious. I like it. I like it. I mean, that's mine's floating around that number too, but I'm 47. uh,
Right? This guy's like the Mike Tyson of testosterone at 80.
I like it, man. I have a new role model to look up to, something to
There
aspire
you
to
go.
be. Hi, so
I love talking to my elders. So my mentor was Bob Seeley, which I dedicated. My book was dedicated to my children and to Bob, who just passed away. He's a two-time Hall of Fame bass fisherman. And that's one thing, I've always found. If you see an old man, sitting there with an apple and a pocket knife, right, and he's peeling it with that thumb, so that's the guy you want in the room that you want to ask for advice.
Yep. Yep. All right. So we got Heather Smith, star of Naked and Afraid, and so many other things. I always hate to go just to Naked and Afraid because it's not fair to you. Tell people all the stuff you got going on, Heather.
So I've got Heather Smith Outdoors. I fish on the hogfin team. So we do competitive saltwater fishing. I have another invitation to fish another tournament next month down in Cabo, but that's not solid yet, so I don't want to go on to that. I have a social media marketing and social media management company that I run here. I live here on Sam Rayburn. And then I am the outdoor editor for Florida Fisherman Magazine, and now I've written a new book, The Survivalist Guide for Single Parents. And actually I have a series coming out, so I'll be dropping more books actually in the series, and then have some other books coming off.
Is it gonna be like a survivalist guide series, survivalist guide to this, that feels like the next potential dummies edition type books. I don't mean that as an insult,
Correct.
but I mean just
Correct.
same kind of concept.
Yeah, same kind of concept. I think I'm planning on doing a kids fishing book. And I'd like to have that out by Christmas. I'm thinking by Black Friday I'll drop it. I don't know if that will be the survivalist guide. I think it's just going to be more good for kids.
Sure.
And then I'm definitely going to do one for survivalist guide for single parents for the teenage years. That's coming. And then the survivalist guide. And then there's a few others. I just don't want to let the secret out just yet. But there are definitely going to be additions to that series. And then I have hard copies. And obviously everyone from the show loves my Heatherism. So I will more than likely drop a Heatherism coffee table book.
That's going to be good. So the book is out. It's available at Amazon. Is it available anywhere else? Any bookstores?
I think for right now, I mean, it just came out. I believe it was over the weekend, and it already hit the bestseller list. So it just kind of skyrocketed really quick, which I was really, really happy about. And the reviews on it are really great. So what I have is out. It's an ebook form right now. If you're with Kindle Unlimited, you could actually download it for free on the Kindle library. So boom, there you go. And then in a couple of weeks, the paperback is going to be coming out. And then I'll be able to do autographed copies of people's paperbacks.
That was my next question.
But yeah, absolutely. And so and then we'll follow it up. And then after the paperback is out for a couple of weeks, then I'm going to drop another book. So this is kind of a staggered process through Christmas for me.
I dig it. Heather, I want to just tell you thanks so much for taking the time to jump on. You're always such an interesting follow. I've got to meet you a couple times now. You're just as interesting in person as you are on the interwebs and on TV. So that's a rare air. You're breathing rarefied air as our 800 testosterone man is there. Most people aren't as talented or as entertaining in person or as online as they are in person, vice versa. You seem to be kind of a jack of all trades. So stay unique, keep doing you. I know you get a lot of hate out there too, as we all do, as we find success. You clearly haven't let that bother you.
If you don't have any haters, you're not doing something right, you know?
No, you're not. You're not. Heather Smith, I want to just say thank you again for taking the time this morning. We got to get you here in the studio at some point in time. Next time you're in Jackson, bringing me a book or something.
Oh, absolutely. I got to come over and I got to come see Ashley soon. So I don't know when I'll be able to break away because, like I said, you know, I'm in writer mode right now. So, and then, you know, the kids have school. Again, it's balance. So I've got to be able to walk that walk, I think, to write those books. So I just wanted to say to all the parents out there, if you're listening, if, you know, you're doing something right, you know, so don't give up on yourself. You are doing something right. So,
well, no, I was thinking about it during the break. You know, people are listening right now and thinking, oh, I'll never need that. I'm not going to be a single parent. Well, I don't know. 50% of marriages end in divorce. So you got a 50-50 shot at ending up a single parent.
Well, and not only that, a lot of people that are married are really single parents. I hate to say it, but, you know, the ones that are married and stay married, they're the ones doing all the work and they feel like they're single parents. It also applies to a lot of people that have a spouse that works offshore or, you know, is
that's a good
more
point.
into their hobbies. We have a lot of that. There's sometimes that the guy, you know, and it's hard sometimes the girl. It's not always the woman. And this wasn't written for single moms. It was written for single parents. There's lots of single dads out there. And my dad raised me for many, many years. I think that it shows that this book, there's a lot of people that, you know, one parent is more consumed with their hobbies. And it seems to be a relationship for that they're both accepting of. And then one parent is doing all the work and that parent can get overloaded. So this book can apply to those individuals that are carrying the load or, you know, the weight of the world on their shoulders.
That's a good point. Heather Smith, go find her book, The Survivalist's Guide to, tell me the right phrase again, Survivalist's Guide to.
It's all right. I got you. It's a survivalist guide for single parents. If you look it up on Amazon, you'll check it out, put it in there again. It's only $3.99, right? So I made it affordable. I know what it's like being a parent. You've got to be on a shoestring budget. I do talk about that in the book. So I wanted it to be affordable so everybody can read it. That way they can have a little bit of lighthearted, you know, encouragement and kind of know what their odds are and what they're up against and facing when, you know, from birth to tween. You can also follow me on Heather Smith Outdoors on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. And check me out if you haven't seen me already. Season 15, episode 6, Naked and Afraid Castaways, and Naked and Afraid XL.
I dig it. Heather Smith, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Stay blessed.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Clay. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, man. Appreciate Heather jumping on with us. Let's take a break, come back. We're going to shuffle the deck, we got some great text about school safety, and I got another topic or two I want to hit as well. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back in 4 minutes on WYAB and online, wherever you're watching it at. All right, guys. Thank y'all for staying through for Miss Heather there. She's always a good interview. I saw where somebody said that they wish there was a more tasteful picture of Heather and they left. I mean, I don't know, man. Heather's an attractive woman. All of her pictures are basically like that. I just picked the first one I saw. So, hey, look, man, as a dude in his 40s, jacked up on testosterone, I don't mind looking at that photo. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Just gonna throw that out there. All right, look, man, I got to do a couple things to get ready for the next segment. We will be right